Hey everyone, thank you for returning to another episode of A Brighter Future Starts Here by the American Society for the Positive Care of Children. Once again this year, we have Lisa Jameson talking about Human Trafficking 101 and what we need to know. Hi Lisa, thank you for taking your
Hi,
time out of your busy schedule and joining us.
hi Tracy. I'm very happy to be on here. My number one thing is to create awareness for this.
That's awesome, and we applaud you for that. So your day job, you're the director at Legal Shield, and you also volunteer with two organizations, Shared Hope International and the Underground Connecticut, that do all they can to combat, reduce human trafficking.
Yes.
So in time for Human Trafficking Awareness Month, tell us a little bit. We understand that the numbers are on the rise, unfortunately. What can you tell us about that, especially this year during the time of COVID?
Well, I can tell you for sure that it's risen exponentially, and the reason for that is because there have been more vulnerability, for one thing. Um, Children have been isolated at home on their computers instead of going to school. And that is actually, excuse me, actually how they lure them in is through the computer. They don't snatch grab like people think they do. That may happen sometimes, but more often than not, what they do is they lure them on the computer. And so, there's been a lot of stuff. The parents have been working out of the home or sometimes in the home. There's been a lot of stress there. So, the parents might be dealing with losing their jobs or, wondering what's going to happen. There's just all kinds of things, and it just makes for a really bad situation at home.
Yeah, all kinds
As
of things
well.
going on in the home. So what does that grooming process look like?
Well, the grooming process is something that traffickers are really, really good at. And what they do is they're always searching for children to befriend on Facebook or TikTok or all these sites, Instagram, Facebook. They're all bad. Okay. But what they do is they will search them. They'll make friends with them. And most kids, they just befriend everybody because they don't know. Okay. And mind you too that children don't have the cognitive thinking that we do because their brains aren't fully developed. So it's very hard for them to understand what's happening to them.
Yeah.
So um, what the groomers do is once they've made friends with them, they will study their Facebook page, see what their likes are, what their dislikes are. um, if the things are happening at home, they'll tell all. And so the trafficker will work on them this way. They will make them think that they are the only ones they can trust. They'll take that vulnerability and they will use it. They will take steps to say, "Oh, you can tell me anything. I'm your friend." And before you know it, the kid's trusting this person that they think is their own age. So um, the traffic will just work on them little at a time, little at a time. It could take months, and they will take the time. And sometimes these kids, they might want to like become a singer, or they might want to be a model, or the person will make them think, "Oh, you're really beautiful, you should be a model," or you got a beautiful voice. They'll make them feel really good about themselves, and they will start kind of getting to distrust anybody else. And before you know it, they will start talking about sex and asking them how they feel about it and stuff like that. And the next thing you know, they'll be getting them to send pictures and just to get them, and then they'll lure them out.
Right.
Okay.
So they've
And
already gained your trust.
Right. Developing the trust on their vulnerabilities is the key. And they know this and they're very good at it. And sometimes, which I did mention to you before, was that sometimes they get blackmailed. They'll send pictures and pictures and pictures, and then they'll say, well, I want more pictures, or I want you to do this, or I want you to do that. And the kid will say, well, no, I don't want to do that. And then all of a sudden they'll see all those pictures flash across the screen, and they'll say, are you sure? You sure you don't want to do it? I own you now, you know, or they'll come out and meet them, and they'll say, hey, let's go and have dinner or whatever. And they buy them all kinds of really nice gifts and treat them like a queen, take them to parties, stuff like that. And next thing you know, they're being sold
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And a lot of them, if they don't bring in a certain amount of money every night, they will be beaten and tortured. And it's a horrendous life. It's absolutely horrendous. And these women, it's called the Romeo effect. These girls actually fall in love with their traffickers. They just do. It's just a natural thing. And they'll do anything the trafficker wants them to do, and they're scared at the same time, because they don't like doing what they're doing, but they get them into it so slow, and they make them think that they went willingly. So, if they say, well, I don't like this, I want to get out, they'll just say, well, you came out of your own free will. The cops aren't going to help you. You're a prostitute. You
Right.
came willingly.
It's very psychological.
Yes.
They first make them feel safe, and then they use everything that they have in their arsenal against them.
Yep. They
And
even, so sorry.
no, I was going to say, and it's very traumatic, like all of these confusing, conflicting feelings combined with the trauma that's going on.
Right.
It's compounded. It's very confusing for the individual, and they probably don't know who to trust, or it reinforces the trust that they have in the wrong person.
Right, because they make them think that they can't trust the police, they can't trust their parents or anybody in their family. So it's just really, it's really horrendous. They're just caught up, and they feel like there's no way out. And the pimp says, you go to the police, they're going to arrest you because you're the prostitute. Mm-hmm. Because for many years, it's always been that the prostitutes would get charged and the pimps would walk. And that's so wrong, because you're the victim. So many young kids have gone to prison, and still do today in some states, for being a prostitute when they're the victims. There is no such thing as a child prostitute. Absolutely no such thing.
No such thing. No such thing. It's about ending the vicious cycle. And I appreciate the passion that you have for this topic. So let's get empowered. What can a parent do? What do they look for? What can they notice to help stop this vicious cycle, or to help stop the grooming process before it even begins, or as it's going on?
Well, they can have privacy settings, put onto the child's computer or cell phone, and mostly it's a cell phone. They do have privacy settings, and a lot of parents, I don't know if they realize that or not, but we can all still be hacked no matter what. But they when they're on the computer, it's nice to have them, like in the same room with you. Put the computer in the same room so they'll be with you when they're on it. Check their phones. Don't be afraid to check them, because some people say, well, I don't want to go into my kid's room. Look, don't just say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, look around. Be a busybody. You need to do it. They don't have to know about it, but sometimes parents will find out that way.
Be a yenta. Be a yenta.
Say that
Be
again.
be a yenta. Be a yenta.
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah.
So, they can also look for signs, in the child. Is the child acting differently?
Yeah.
Is the child kind of isolating? Is a child always talking to this friend on the cell phone and can't seem to get off and is always on it? That parents should be saying, well, who is that you're talking to? Who are his parents? Stuff like that. All kinds of questions. Disheveledness, marks on their bodies. Are they bringing home things that they can't afford? You know, like sometimes they'll be buying them all these gifts and all of a sudden they'll have like a new cell phone or they'll have like a new pair of shoes. Or where'd you get those? A friend gave it to you. Well, and I know that there have been some parents that say, all right, I want to meet this person, and we go with them. And, of course, that would be the end of that. But
Absolutely.
but there's so many different signs, different behavior. It can be anger, it can be anxiety, it could just be like withdrawing. There's all those signs that a parent can look for. But if you're not looking for it, you're not going to notice it. You
Right.
Parents have to pay attention to what their kids are doing. They absolutely have to. I know that there are some parents who probably work different shifts and it's awfully hard because they're thinking about getting food on the table, keeping their job, not getting sick, this, that, and stuff like that. We all get overwhelmed, and sometimes the children suffer for it. And these traffickers can see this because they're being told by the victim. And parents have got to spend more quality time. Quality time over quantity is so much better.
Mm.
Children need to be heard.
Yes.
And when they do talk to you, don't dismiss anything. If they say something's going on, believe them
Yeah.
and find out what you can. There is a human trafficking national hotline number. Can also call the police. And another thing is too that it's important to recognize these, people on the streets, because there are kids on the streets, airports, bus stations, even people are being trafficked for labor in nail salons too.
Right.
Um, just a couple of years ago, they shut down 9,000 beauty spas, or whatever you want to call them, massage parlors in the
Wow.
U.S. Yes, 9,000 in a
Wow.
year, and there's always more popping up.
Wow.
No matter what you do, there's always more things popping up. It's ingrained in our society so badly, and people, the or should I say the perpetrators, it's hard to catch them because people don't know what to look for. They
Mm.
don't know how to spot it. They see it in front of their faces all the time and they're not seeing it.
Right. Right. Sometimes people have a vision in their head of what a perpetrator looks like when that's not the reality. It can be the neighbor. It could be
Ex-
somebody that you know. It could be somebody that the child knows,
mhm.
relatively well, an acquaintance
Yep.
that then develops a relationship with the child little by little, as you say. So
Yep.
tell us about sharedhope.org and about the Underground Connecticut. What are these organizations and what are they doing to help make people aware of human trafficking, and how are you helping in that process?
Okay. Um, Now, the undergroundct.org is in Connecticut, where I am, and they are trying to combat human trafficking in Connecticut and beyond.
Okay.
And they support some places that are helping traffic victims that have been rescued, and also they put money into programs, to help these women and boys to get the healing that they need. I know that the Underground Connecticut is going to be opening up a a different kind of not organization, but a different part where people that are trafficked, they might not want to live in a home with
Mm,
other people. They want to be by themselves,
yeah,
you know. And so this program will help them, to be able to live on their own now, find a job, and get what they need, and they'll have somebody walking along beside them.
that's
So
great.
that's really important.
Yeah. What about
So
shared hope?
now Shared Hope has been around for, gosh, it's been about 21 or 22 years,
Mm,
and they have everything. They have webinars all the time. They have ambassadors, which I'm an ambassador, which is somebody who helps awareness. We learn a lot about human trafficking,
sure.
and so that we can make others aware of what's happening. Because really, funding for these programs and creating awareness are the key to stopping this. Because the more people that are aware is is better. And the police, a lot of police in different states have been trained on it, and doctors have
Mm,
started to be trained, but not everywhere. Shared Hope not only has a whole plethora of
resources.
resources and
Yeah.
information and stuff like that. And you can even take courses. They have a prayer guide. They have tools that you can buy so that you can share the stuff. You can have small groups in your church or in your community, which I'm thinking about doing, so that you could teach the people in your church or your community about what's going on, and it gives you a step by step, along with a film to watch that's appropriate for parents to watch, and they can learn that way. And I will tell you, I don't know if I told you, Tracy, that I did a fundraiser in October for the Underground CT,
Nice.
and this it was amazing. It was a God thing. I'm a Christian, and I was telling Anne Marie Boulay, who is the CEO and founder of the Underground Connecticut, that I wanted to do another fundraiser. I had done a couple of them before, and it was
Wonderful.
a paint party. And so she goes, "Gosh, in the month of October, we have somebody that's donating 35 or matching all donations in the month of October up to
Well,
$35,000." So I'm like,
nice.
"Wow, that's great."
Perfect.
So I says, "Well, October 7th, I'm going to do this paint party." Well, I won't get into the whole specifics of how it happened, but it was amazing. My goal was to raise $2,500 so that the match would be 5,000. And I really didn't think that I was going to make it, because the week before it was just like, oh my goodness, this is not going to work. Then God did some really great things, and I made $2,730.
Nice.
So 5460. Yeah. So now they're,
Awesome.
that with all the other donations they got because of the match, they
That's
can start that program that I was just talking about.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Lisa, I love what you do in protecting families, not only through Legal Shield, but through all of the work that you do with human trafficking awareness and prevention. Tell our listeners where they can find you on LinkedIn.
Okay. They, I actually can't even read that link, but
Lisa Jameson.
yeah, it's Jameson. I live in Connecticut, so if you look up all those different things, because I can't really see much beyond these glasses, and that writing is so small. I'm sorry,
No, 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 it's all good.
but yeah, if you look for me,
Yeah,
you'll find me. I'm the only one, I think, named Lisa Jameson, Connecticut, that works for Legal Shield.
that's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing this great information to us today, as you did last year. And we look forward to some progress in this area. hopefully in the future, in the near future.
Can I mention a couple of other things too?
Sure.
I wanted to say too that, one thing that a parent can teach their kids, and I probably mentioned this in the last time, that if a stranger ever walks up to them and pays them a compliment, like you have beautiful eyes, they should tell their kids, look at them in the face and say, thank you, and smile, because then they'll know that's not their target. They're going to look for somebody who's going to, you know,
Shy, somebody weak, somebody shy.
exactly, the weak. Yep.
Interesting. Thank you
And
for sharing that. That's important.
it is very, very important. It's very, very important. And I can't remember the second thing I was going to say, but
Okay, we'll just have to have you back on the show. So, for all of our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today to hear more wonderful resources like what you heard today. Please visit us at americanspcc.org. You'll find a wonderful resource library, all of our past podcasts. You'll also see all of our upcoming podcasts in the future. And again, if you know someone like Lisa who's doing great things in their community, reach out to us. We want to know about it. We want to interview them. Again, thank you, Lisa, for joining us.
sure.
And to
Thank you.
everyone, yeah, absolutely. And to everyone out there, please remember, a brighter future starts here.